So I just rewatched Hulk 2003, and if you've been following the channel for a long time, you know that that's not a new statement for me to make. If you didn't know, I started this channel back in 2019, not in not last year. But I decided to scrap that whole channel, restart, redo it. But I have talked about this movie twice before, so if you've been following the channel for a long time, this isn't gonna be anything new for you. I'm not gonna give this movie a plot by plot, beat by beat synopsis. I'm just gonna say like how I feel about this movie. I feel like Hulk 2003 is very underrated. It's a really great film in my opinion. There's some corny aspects about it, some stuff that doesn't really hold up very well. But I do feel like take this movie, release it nowadays, take out all the comic book transitions, and you will truly have a movie that has like a 99, 95% of Rotten Tomatoes. Because this is true, this is a great Hulk movie, and I'm a very big fan of the Hulk from the comics, as you guys may know. I have been reading a lot of Hulk lately, but I mean, I always have. It's just lately I've been really diving into it. And after rewatching this movie for like the 100th time since I was a little kid, I realized, yeah, no, this is very in tune with what the Hulk actually is in the comic books. And it's kind of cool to see because they were clearly wanting this to be their next Spider-Man, Universal's version of it. Because Spider-Man had came out the year before and it was extremely successful. So you could tell they wanted this to be a big hit. So they put this movie on literally everything. They marketed it like crazy. We're talking video games, toys, merchandise, things like that. And then the movie comes out, and it's not what they really expected or the audience expected. So the movie gets a bad rap for that because this movie, it's a Hulk movie, but in the comics, you know what happens there? We deal with depression and we deal with abuse. That's what this movie deals with, and I really respect it for that, and I've always respected it for that. Truth be told, when I was a kid, I watched this movie, I loved it, and then I go online and see people hating it, and I'm like, why? And it's very not very good critiques of the film. And there's some small critiques you could do here and there with the movie, but it's not really so much so to where it's like it's a terrible film. Anyway, I'm just gonna get into what I like the plot is about this film. As you guys may know, this movie is about Bruce Banner being played by Eric Bana, who goes through a gamma experiment, gets dosed with gamma rays, becomes the Hulk. But with him becoming Hulk in this movie, it's about him unleashing years worth of trauma and abuse in the form of the Hulk, and it's very, very poetic in my opinion, and it's very interesting to watch. You also got his dad in this movie being played by Nick Nolte, who is just doing something in the film. You got Jennifer Connelly, who is playing Betty Brant. Same thing with Sam Elliott, who's playing Thunderbolt Ross, and it's a very good casting here. And bringing in a director like Ang Lee onto this movie really does help the film out a lot because Ang Lee, being a foreign director, he wanted to do something. He wanted to make essentially the anti-blockbuster. Still have action here and there, but he wanted to really have this movie be about characters, and you can tell that whenever watching this movie. Like there's scenes where like we're discussing dreams of abuse and neglect and things like that, and we don't really when we see the Hulk in the movie, it's very sparingly, but when he's there, you can feel why he's there, which I really enjoyed as well. The CGI is one thing people like to pick on about this movie, and it's not great for parts of it. Hulk looks great in the movie, like truly great. I feel like he looks exactly how what you would want Hulk to look like from 2003. He looks really good in the film. And then you got the Hulk dogs, and they're not great. And then Nick Nolte becomes the absorbing man, and that's not great. But that's the only CGI that really doesn't hold up throughout the movie. Same thing with the transitions. They bring in other characters here. We have this guy that wants to take down Bruce Banner, and that isn't just Thunderbolt Ross, and his character doesn't really feel needed. Honestly, his character could have just been Thunderbolt Ross. But this movie is about deeply, it is about people who are trying to overcome their trauma, and they really bring that to display here with Eric Bana as Bruce Banner, and he's very good in this role. He plays a very subdued, quiet Bruce Banner, somebody who's very, very closed off emotionally, but whenever he does eventually come in later in the film and he actually, unleashes the Hulk, you can tell he's slowly starting to feel more like a person. He feels very detached at the beginning of the movie, but he slowly starts to feel more like his own individual as the movie goes on, as he's processing the shit that's going on in his life. And while I feel like the movie could have delved into that a little bit more, I will say this is definitely the anti-blockbuster that way because Ang Lee really put out this movie. It was like, look, it's gonna be not what you want, but we're gonna do it anyway because, yeah, we're just gonna do it anyway. And it really works for me as somebody who wants that out of superhero media. And I feel like more movies should be about that because comic books in general do dive into that kind of stuff. Whether it's the Hulk or you got other characters that deal with abuse and trauma. Yeah, I mean it makes sense. And it really works for what they're going for. And the action in this movie I feel like is very good. I mean mostly it's just like taking out tanks and Hulk dogs, but at the end of the film, whenever Bruce is fighting the Absorbing Man, i.e. his father, it's really poetic with his first words being take it all because he's giving him all the anger that he has experienced for his entire life because of what his dad did to his mom, which the opening movie is literally his dad hurting his mom. And it's like really hard to watch, but it is very, I respect it. I respect the balls that this movie has because it really comes out the gate and is like, look, we're gonna do something that you guys do not expect. Some of you may not even want from a Hulk movie, but we're gonna do it anyway because this is my film. And as you can tell, Ang Lee is a very big fan of the comic books because that's what the comic books do. Now, there's still tons of smashing throughout the movie, tons of Hulk stuff throughout the film, but it's a very hard movie to watch if you're just expecting something like Spider-Man 2002 when you're actually getting something along the lines of like X-Men 2000 because that movie dealt with very similar themes. Not similar, but like it dealt with a lot more hardcore themes on top of being a little, I don't know, a little corny in parts. But I don't know. I've always respected this movie. I've always loved this movie, and I didn't really give you guys like a beat by beat plot summary throughout the review, more just how I feel about the film. The movie elicits a feeling for me, and it's definitely one of my favorite comic book movies ever made. I really denied that fact for a long time. I was like, well, this movie's good, but there's weird transitions and stuff like that. And when you really break down to it, yeah, there's weird transitions. Yeah, some of the CGI is not great, but the character work here is very good. You can tell the people behind the camera are fans. They were trying to get this movie made for years as well. Like they were really wanting to get a Hulk movie made. It was going through many different ideas, one of which involving Hulk fighting giant bugs. But I'm happy they landed on this movie because this movie really speaks to me. And I know there's a very small fan group of this for this film out there, so it really speaks to them as well. So it has its place, and I feel like it's a very good movie. So with all that being said, yeah, Hulk 2003 is one of my favorite comic book movies ever made. I wouldn't go so far as saying one of my favorite films ever made, but I do really like this movie a lot. I have always respected it, and I will give Hulk 2003 a 9 out of 10.